So if you talk of stories, you talk of hare and tortoise, or you talk of I have a dream, was a visualization. You talk of different examples of how Steve Jobs gave his speech, the wonderful speech about connecting the dots. There are speeches which you still recognize and connect with because they are all stories. And that is what makes the entire difference. Forget about someone else. If I were to ask you, the best storytellers that you would have come across will be your grandparents, or if you're surrounded with children, other children. Somewhere in the process of growing up, we all mature and we start to talk Excel, PowerPoint, facts, figures. And forget that this beautiful art of storytelling is what actually creates a deep impact. You look at any brand, today they're not into the technical selling. They talk about stories, they talk about how it impacts, how it changes. And that is what it resonates deep within you. Because today, we are creating the history that will be spoken of a few years later. But for that to happen, you have to speak. You have to speak up, you have to express. And all the people listening over here have to speak about stories, have to share those stories, and that is what will move the story forward. Else, they'll be in your closets, they'll be in your books, they'll be hidden deep within. Without someone knowing that story, it's a lost opportunity. So with that, let's begin with what's your story. This is a story about how while I began my journey as a speaker and I was competing, I was anxious, I'm going to go next, what am I going to speak, how am I going to speak? There was one teacher who taught me one lesson which I have taken for the past 19 to 20 years with me, dearly and deeply inscribed within me. While I was anxious waiting for my turn to come to go on stage, and while I was waiting for the rest of the 7 to 8 speakers to move forward and then for my chance to come, he pulled me aside and asked me, and he told me one simple line which I'll never forget again. He said, clap for everyone until your turn comes. Clap for everyone until your turn comes. And when we see something around us, it has a far deeper impact because we have an opportunity to grab them, not literally, but we have an opportunity to know the deeper side of how is it that someone can sustain through so much of pain, the challenges, and still survive and go and move forward. Because there are situations in our life when we have so many things in our favor and yet we find it challenging to move forward. So listening to stories like that does inspire us that when someone who's had so much of a challenge still can make it, what am I limited with? When I was going for our school annual day, you all go, right? Have gone experienced? I was made a tree. And the challenge was, there were some people who made the leaves, some people who made the fallen leaves. And the parents of their kids went on to the teacher and asked, why have you made my kid that? See there, he's performing, he's dancing, he's swinging his hands and doing so many things while my son is standing like that. But my father never went back to that teacher. And I asked him, why didn't you fight for me? I saw others fighting. He said that there will be days when you will be the tree. There will be days when you will be the dancer. There will be days when you will be the doorknob, and there will be days when you will be the entire character, the lead or the villain, whatever it is. But whatever you're doing, put your soul into it. That's what matters. Because even in that tree, if you put your soul, you put the smile, you put the energy into whatever you're doing, how much so static, you can still make influence. And that is what is the power of doing things or enjoying things when you're doing whatever smaller thing that you're doing. If you enjoy it, I think there's a whole world that awaits you. Begin where you are, begin with what you have, begin with who you have. That's a wonderful story. I think it does inspire a lot of confidence with regard to beginning somewhere. That's the entire point. There's only one version of truth. And the way to catch a lie, or the way a lie is caught, is often because there are different versions of the lies. But truth has only one version. And that's the reason you should stick to that. Because somewhere a lot of people struggle with these stories deep within, hidden and in shyness or in shame, whatever you want to label it. But I think by talking of stories like this, you provide a face, you provide the courage to a lot of people. Thank you for that.